Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to look into Python classes. So let's look into the topics. What are the topics we are going to cover in this session? So in this session, we are going to cover the following topics. The topics we are going to cover is that we will look into how to define classes in Python. Then we will understand that there are certain keywords which we have to understand and their significance, like what is init and what is the significance, why we are using it. We will learn about this thing. Then we will also look into there is a keyword which we have used in the earlier session, that is called self, why we are using self. Once we have understand that thing, then we will proceed further and look into that how to create an object of the classes and how do we can print the object. So we will look into that. We will also look into how to access the object attributes. Once we understand that, then we will move further and we will look into how to add instance methods. So we will look into that aspect as well. Then we will proceed further and we will understand that how to use del keyword and what is the significance of del keyword with the Python classes. And whenever we are creating any objects, how we can release the memory with del keyword. Once we understand that, then afterwards we will look into automatic memory management, how the memory management is happening within Python. And after that we will look into intrinsic attribute, and all this thing we will understand with the help of example. So let's look into Python classes. How to define a Python classes? First we will look into the examples over here and then we will write the code into a spider editor. So basically the syntax to create a Python class is this one, where we need to use a keyword called class and the name of the class which we want to create. In some cases we are going to inherit the class. So this is the super class is referring to the class. Now we will use the keyword underscore init. This is a special way of defining the constructor within Python. So let's jump into the spider editor and there we will see the live example how to create a class and then how we will create the object of that class, and we can also look into how to use constructor with the help of init function. So let's jump into the editor. So we are going to create a simple class which will represent a person. So how do we can do that? We have seen the syntax keyword called class and with the name of the class. So we are going to create a class called person, and here while creating the object we want to initialize some value to the object of that particular class. So now here we are going to create an init method. Init method is nothing but a way to create constructor within Python. So we have to create over here that self name age, and here we need to initialize the value whenever an object will be created for person class. So this will be initialized. So we need to provide the name and the age. Here we need to provide age as well. So this is the way we have created a person class. Now when we create the object, so we need to pass the name and the age of the person. So how do we can create it? So let's look into that. So person1 we are going to p1 equals to person, and here we need to pass the name. So we are going to pass some name that is called Max and age is 40. Another person we are going to create with the same person class. So we need to create another person like Rambo and the age is 35. Now P3 object, again we will create another person and this time I will use my name. Okay, age 39. So this way we have created 3 objects of person class. So this is the way we can create the person class. So now what we have seen so far, let's look into that. We will iterate the topic. So we have seen here that how to create a class with this syntax. So we have created a person class where we have defined the name and the age which need to be passed whenever we are creating a person class. So init is a function used for constructor. What is constructor? Constructor is a special method which will be called while creation of an object of that particular class. So we have seen here that whenever we are creating an object of this class, we need to pass the value to the constructor, and constructor can be called automatically whenever we create an object of that particular class. We have also seen that how to create an object of the defined class the same way we have defined over here. Now we will understand here the init method. I have told you what is init method. Init method is a way by which we can initialize the object in Python. We can use init method for constructor. So what is constructor? Constructor is a special function which will be called automatically whenever we are initializing an object or creating an object of a class. The same way we have created a person class, and there we are creating an object and we are passing the value to the constructor, and that function init method is called automatically whenever a new object is being created. So now we understand that init method. So now understand the self keyword. So what is self? Self is a special variable which holds the values which we pass at the time of creation an object. For example, we have passed John and age 36 over here, which holds the information about the instance variable. Instance variable is nothing but an object. So in summary, self is a variable which holds the information about the instance, or say which is associated with the instance, and instance is nothing but an object which we create with the class. So now we understand it, we will move further and look into how we can print the object of a class. So let's jump into the terminal and we will look into how we can print the object. So generally, if you try to print the object over here P1, then it will print that which class it belongs to, not the values. See here, if you run it, sorry, it is not being defined, we need to define it. So we will run it again. Now again we try to print it. So see here what the value it is printing. So it is printing information about the person class. So that means this object P1 object is an object of person class. But how do I can print the value or print the name of P1 person, and what is the age of this? So to do that we need to access the attribute like P1, the name. For example, the name of the P1 is person P1 is, we need to access the attribute over here P1 dot name, and then also we need to specify that if we want to access the age, we can also specify the age as well. We can access the name and the age of the person P1 is, and then we need to access the age as well. Same way we can print the name and age of person P2. So here we will change P2 and here we can access P2. Now again we will do it for same P3. So this time we will write for P3. Now we will execute it. So let's look into that what it is printing. So this has printed the P1 is the name and the age of the P1 is, we forget to mention, and the age we should write it age. So here now we will run it again. So the name and the age of person P1 is Max 40, for the second person Rambo 35, and the third person Mukesh 39. So this is the way you can access the attribute of an object with this notation. So you should remember that you need to first grab the name of the object and the attribute with the help of dotted notation. So you should remember it. Now move further, let's look into what are the topics remaining. Now we have understand that how to access the object attributes, and we have seen here we have accessed with the dotted notation. Now moving further, so adding an instance method. So in this topic what we are going to look into, so far we have looked that we have used init method, but we don't have any instance method. So we need to add one instance method. So we are going to add a method called birthday within the person class, so that we can use this method, and whenever a birthday will be called, it get increment by 1, and then it will print the value with the incremented age. So let's define it in our program. Let's jump into the editor. So now here we have a special method called init, which is a constructor. Now we need to add an instance method. To define an instance method, we need to write a function birthday. Here we need to specify self, and we are not going to pass any parameter because it is non-parameter function, and then here we will print it. So here we are print that happy birthday you were, so it whatever the previous age it has, so it will print that age. Here we need to convert it first so that it is a integer value. We need to print it, we need to convert it into str. Now here we need to increment the age because this birthday has been called, so we need to add 1, and now we will print the current age. So here we need to specify that you are now, and here we need to specify self dot age. So here we have declare a birthday function. Now again we can run it, shift enter, and now we will call p1 dot birthday. When we call this function, see here what will happen. So it has printed happy birthday, you were 40, you are now 41. So that means the person P1 has called the birthday function and it has incremented one value. First it has printed the age, current age, and then incremented one, and then the value of that age is 41. So this is the way you can create an instance method within a class. So why it is called instance method? Because as we know that instance is nothing but an object, and this function is being called with the help of this instance. So that's the reason it is called instance method. So you just remember this jargon. You are going to hear a lot of this jargon whenever we are doing an object oriented programming. So now move further and look into what is the topic we have now. Now we understand that. Now we will look into the del keyword. So what is del keyword? So del keyword is used to delete the memory or whatever the memory which is being allocated to an object. If we want to release that memory, we can use del keyword. So let's look into the example. For example, suppose that if this P1 is being created and you want to release the memory, then you need to write del P1. So now, right now, if you are accessing the P1 value, if you are accessing it, suppose that if you are executing this one, then it is printing the P1 value, name and the age. But here, if you want to release the P1, so you need to run it. So it deleted it. Now if you try to run this, it will give you the error. So see here, why? Because we have released the memory for P1. So Python doesn't know what this P1 is now, because we have released it from the memory. And if we want to use it again, we need to again instantiate it, or we need to again create this object. So this is the use of del keyword. So now move further and look into other topic. So now here we will look into automatic memory management. So basically this is a small topic. This is nothing but all this memory management we don't have to bother about this memory management in Python, because Python will take care this automatically. So we are not going to perform all this activity, but in certain scenarios whenever we want to release some memory, we can have a method or have a keyword available, or imperative way of releasing the memory is being available. But all these things happened automatically within Python, and Python will take care of this thing. So just remember it. Now move further, look into intrinsic attribute. So this is really important. If you look into intrinsic attribute, so there are special methods which is being provided within Python. So basically remember that Python has offered some of the intrinsic method and inbuilt method with the class. If you are creating a class, then it will automatically associate with it. You don't need to define it. So these are the method like name of the class will. This method will return the name of the class, module from which it was loaded, underscore bases, a collection of base class it will return. This is the dictionary, a set of key value pair. For object, these are the two intrinsic methods. So we will try to look into that, what actually it is. So basically it is telling that if you access this underscore class, it will return the which class this object belongs to. So let's look into that once. Let's jump into a spider. For example, if you have P2 object and if you try to access it, underscore class. So if you try to run it, so see here, we haven't defined this underscore class, but it is returning that it belongs to a person class. This object belongs to a person class. So from where it is coming? So basically it is an intrinsic method which is already being provided by Python, and whenever we are creating an object with the help of this keyword, that class, so it will associate this intrinsic method to the instance of the class. And here P2 is an instance of person class, so that's the reason it is returning that. So this P2 class belongs to person. So this is what I wanted to show you in this session. So see you in the next session. Till then, bye bye.